Okay, here we go. No Malice. Welcome
Yes,
back.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Good to be here,
Yo, me and you actually go way, way back because I've been doing Clipse interviews since before VladTV, back when I was doing DVDs and mixtapes.
bro. I'm sure. I'm definitely sure. That's what's up. Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
minute.
man. Well, congratulations on everything. You definitely have an incredible legacy and an unbelievable body of work.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. It's been a long road, and I believe it's still going to continue.
Absolutely, man. You look great. You look healthy.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
you
Thank
can't
you
ask
very
for more
much.
than that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, we've done other interviews before, but I would like to just kind of go through the timeline of how you got to this place of where you are now, because I feel like the history of No Malice and the Clipse is very important, and not everybody knows it.
Right.
So, you grew up in Virginia. I guess you were born in the Bronx, but you grew up in Virginia Beach.
That's right. That's right. Born in the
Okay.
Bronx, Bronx, Lebanon. There was just an incident there too. I don't know if you heard about it or whatever, but
Yeah, the hospital.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So we lived on Gun Hill Road in Tilden Towers, and at a young age, I was 8 when we came to Virginia. So yeah, Virginia Beach.
Okay. Now, growing up, you were actually raised in the church.
Yeah, we went to church.
Okay. Now, was that just going to church every so often, or were you guys really deep into the whole church
No,
culture?
no, we were never deep into the church thing, but church was not taboo for us. It would be nothing for my mom to say, "Get up this Sunday, y'all going to church." But it wasn't like every Sunday, on schedule we were in the church. But church was definitely not taboo for us.
Sure. Now, at one point, you and your brother started getting mixed up with the wrong people and getting involved in drugs and alcohol. Like, at what age did that really start happening?
Well, I wouldn't say alcohol. I mean, drank just like any young kid might drink, or going out to the clubs, having a drink. But and I can't even call them the wrong people because those guys were our friends, are our friends. 15, when I was in Brandon Middle School, junior high. That's when we got into the things that we got involved with concerning drugs.
Okay. So, at
And,
15,
and
you
keep in
guys are
mind,
now.
keep in mind, I'm almost 5 years older than Pusha, so he was, coming up after me.
Oh, okay. So, you're 15 and he's 10.
Right.
So you start getting involved into the drugs things, into the drugs, and initially in terms of selling and so forth.
What is this about, man? What is this about? But yeah,
We're,
yeah,
we're, gonna,
definitely.
we're gonna get into everything. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but I think what's important is the story and the development and how you got here. You see
No,
what I'm
no, no,
saying?
no, no, no. I'm with you. I'm just still very cautious of things I say. But yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it's pretty much known. 15. See, when we came here from New York, we had two cousins here that basically had this housing project sewn up, called Bridal Creek. And these guys, they grew like freakishly big at a young age, and nobody would ever mess with them. So it was very easy for me to go out because my cousins ran everything. At first they wouldn't even let me get down with anything that was going on, but after a while you learn the ropes, hanging out, everybody knowing you and knowing not to mess with you. So it was, kind of easy.
Okay, so you started hustling and making money at 15.
Right.
At what point did your brother start getting involved in it also?
Well, you have to know, okay, so then right out of high school, I joined the army. And when I would come back from the army, all my friends out there would tell me that, my younger brother Terrence, he was out there a lot, and telling me, what he was doing, and he was running with the guys that I was running with when I left, except for I had gotten married and went and joined the army. So it's the same thing with him. Everybody knew my cousins, they knew me. That's Terrence. You don't mess with him, and he loved money so much anyway. So that kind of explains how that came about.
Okay. Now, at that age, at teenagers, what do you think was the worst thing that you guys had to go through? Because when you talk about selling drugs, especially if you talk about cocaine, that comes with a lot of violence.
Hmm.
Like, what do you think as a teenager was the hardest thing that you went through?
I don't think I went through any hard things. We have a dad that's like 6'2", 6'3", so we knew not to bring no trouble home. Like, we come from a total functional house. It didn't make sense for us to even be selling drugs. We don't have the proverbial drug selling story. I had to feed my kids or lights was getting cut out. We were just doing it because we wanted to have the latest fashion, the fly kicks, and even at that age, we were very intellectual. So we had the all of the benefits of the drug dealing without all the nonsense.
Okay. So, at what point do you and your brother start looking at rap as something that could potentially be serious?
Well, Pusha, he never really even had an interest, in rap music at first. And when I say that, I mean actually rapping. Like, he would ask me questions like, why do you like this guy as opposed to that guy in rapping? And I would always, break down cats like Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane. And I would always tell him, or I remember telling him, I would like these guys because they have something to say. It was a message. Not only was it a message, but it was the structure of the lyrics. I remember like hearing like two lines that rhyme, then the next two lines, they would rhyme, and then like by the fifth line, it'll go back up to the first two lines that rhyme, and that was just a rhyme scheme that I just absolutely loved. So I would, tell my brother, what I saw in hip hop and what I liked about it and why I chose this guy over that guy or whatever. But I always knew that I could rhyme.
So, at what point did you guys decide to form the Clipse and name it that?
Well, the reason why I never took rap too seriously because I thought being famous was always something that happened to someone else. So even though I was known around the neighborhood for rapping, it wasn't until I met with real producers, guys that could make, really good beats. We had a crew called DDP, Def Dual Productions. Actually, we were a gang, and everybody had a partner. And, my man had told me, he was kind of like the leader of us all. He said, I met this guy who makes beats, and you should check him out because he's really hot. And that guy was Timbaland, and Timbaland was in his crew too, DDP, and he would make beats for all of us. We just like to rap and beat up people, so that was kind of like our thing at that time or whatever. And then after, Timbaland got signed, and he was doing the whole Missy and the Jodeci thing and all of that. And I met Pharrell, and we had like mutual friends and met Chad. And, we just always would go to Chad's house and we would spit rhymes, and, they had, even at that time, incredible beats, and, just hanging out rhyming. And it wasn't until one time where Pusha actually wanted to get down. He wrote his first rap ever. I remember it was called A Thief in the Night was the name of the song, and he like totally crushed it. I mean, first rap ever. And seeing as how I didn't like to do a lot of writing and he didn't like to do a lot of writing was like the perfect storm. We come together, you write 16, I write 16, and then we both split an 8, song done.
Okay. So, a lot of people know the Clipse for Lord Willin,
Right.
but there was another album before that called Exclusive Audio Footage.
For sure.
So, how did that deal come together, and what happened to that whole situation?
Well, Exclusive Audio Footage was actually the first album that we did with the Neptunes. We messed around and we got signed with Elektra. We have the shortest rap struggle ever because it took us no time to get a rap deal. I think we got our rap deal within a year. our manager at the time, Rob Walker, always told us that we would never be able to tell anybody about the hard struggle and how, you know, we came out getting a deal, this, that, and the third, because we got a deal in like no time. Sylvia Rhone signed us to Elektra, but you know, it really didn't go anywhere at the time because the hot items at that time was Busta and Missy Elliott, and all the focus were on them. But I will say, to on behalf of Sylvia Rhone, she played fair. She didn't keep us around. She didn't leave us stuck at a label signed, you know, because she could have done that. But she liked our talent, and she felt like we could go somewhere else and get another deal. So she let us go, and that's what we did.
Okay, so you guys are down with the Neptunes.
That's right.
The first album gets put together, completed, but it gets shelved, right? It never comes out.
Right.
So then the second deal was with what label?
Oh man, bro, you have to understand, like, this whole rap career thing for me is like one big blur, so you're gonna have to bear with me. It's like so much stuff I don't even remember. It's a lot of things I don't even care to remember, but I think from there we went to Arista, I believe.
Arista, right.
Yeah.
And that was through Star Trek.
Yes, through Star Trek.
Okay, so you guys, I mean, was it somewhat frustrating putting a whole album together and then just scrapping it and never coming out?
Well, you know, actually, when I found out that it was that we were no longer signed or no longer with the label or weren't going to be with the label, we were actually on a plane just coming back from New York. So you can only imagine, you know, your family, friends, everyone knowing that you're signed, and then it all going downhill. And I think in that same weekend we had a show at this place called Shadows, and everybody was out celebrating, and everybody came out to see us perform, but they didn't know that we weren't even signed anymore. So, you know, we had to go through that like we stars, but we don't even have a deal.
Okay, so you guys started putting together Lord Willin, right?
Right.
And, you know, by this time, the Neptunes and Pharrell, they had a few hits. Like I think like Rump Shaker was one of their hits,
right,
like early on.
Right, Rump Shaker, SWV. I can't even think of the song, but yeah, you know, they had a hit with SWV.
They had a few songs, and they were working with Teddy Riley at the time as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, people think of the Neptunes now, but they weren't the Neptunes as we know them back then. They were still, you know, up and coming producers.
Right.
So, you guys put together this project for Lord Willin, and this is now your second album, and the first single is Grindin', right?
Right.
And I remember this was like 2002.
Well, the album came out in 2002, so it could have been like the end of 2001.
Yeah.
That record actually took 9 months to break, so, you know, you can kind of count backwards.
So Grindin' was kind of this very interesting kind of anomaly when it comes to music, because it was essentially just a drum beat.
Right.
Right? And you had two kids rapping about the drug game on it. And it just became a huge hit. It was, you know, it didn't have the formula of a typical hit song, but it started to just kind of take off. I remember I was living in the Bay Area and all the clubs were playing it. It just did its thing. Did you have any idea that Grindin' was even going to do anything?
Well, it's actually a story behind that, because, you know, Pharrell had called me when he had just got finished making it and said, you know, to hurry up, get to the studio now. I got this. I mean, come to Chad's house now. Got this beat. It's crazy, this, that, and the third. So I remember stopping everything I was doing, and I went to Chad's house and met with my brother there and listened to the track. And I totally did not understand it. Like, I was like, yo, it needs something else. Like, it's, you know, it's not complete. It's not finished. And he was like, he was just so sure of himself, and he knew what it was. He was like, nah, I'm telling you, this is it. Trust me. Just trust me on this one. So we went, we wrote to it, we actually wrote to Grindin twice. I guess till we finally laid hold on to what it actually was. Because right offhand, I didn't know, because it was, like you say, it was so different, and I had never heard anything like that before. But once I found myself on it, I knew exactly what it was.
Right. Because even the chorus was like Pharrell just going grinding. Like, it wasn't even like a traditional chorus by any stretch.
Right, definitely. And it was like playing double dutch trying to figure out how to come in on that track. I didn't even, for so long we would do shows, and I'm like, is it time for my part yet? Like, I didn't know when I came in, because I never had really mastered it. Even if I was to do a show now, I probably would still have that little stutter step, but yeah, definitely different.
So that song comes out, and it blows the fuck up.
It does.
And by that time you guys have been in the game, like, for what, 5? I mean, hold on, because your first deal
that was like 97, 98.
Yeah, so about 5 years or so.
Yeah, about 5 years.
How did it feel to have a hit song after 5 years of grinding? No pun intended.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't even think I understood where I was at the time. I really don't think, I think even more so now, looking back, I see where we were at that time, more so now than I did at the time. At the time, it was like a big whirlwind. You go from living everyday life to, on tour and traveling and performing these shows, and everybody just loving the song and loving your music. So, I didn't really grasp what it was at the time, even though, I enjoyed it, definitely.
Okay. And that song is essentially about selling cocaine.
From top to bottom.
So now it's like the Clipse are, the guys who do the coke raps.
Right.
It kind of, whether you guys had other subjects at the time, you guys are now kind of in that box in a way. How did it feel, and you guys, and based on, what we've talked about, you guys were not major kingpin drug dealers.
Right.
How did it feel at that point in your life to be, the drug dealer rappers?
Well, it wasn't until, I always call it the perfect storm, because you have to understand, like, ever from 15, we knew about selling drugs. From 15, Pusha even younger because I was older. And by the time, and we could rap. And so by the time we get with the Neptunes, and by the time that, we're making these rap records, it was just like the perfect storm to talk about what you know about, and having these beats, the way it came together, it only made total sense. It could not have went any other way. It wasn't until it was some article that described us as coke rappers. And when I heard it, I felt as though, I'm like, I know my intellect supersedes, just this coke. But then I had to be like, yo, that is all y'all talk about. That's all you talk about. And was so good at it because all of our friends and everybody that we were around, even when we went elsewhere, I guess the D-boys in different states could relate. And there's just a certain jargon. It's a certain lingo that was just understood. And people knew that them guys really had something to do with that, So it in itself became an art form.
Were you bothered at the time because of it, or were you cool with it at the time?
No, I mean, like I said, when I seen the article, it was a big article too. And I just felt like there was just so much more to us. But, we were pigeonholed, I guess,
Yeah.
And when I first heard it, I was bothered. I even had made mention of it or whatever, but right after that it was just right back to it. I just knew it was just so much more. We have so much more.
Right. But your rhyme partner, his name is Pusha T.
Right, 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 right,
You know, your name is Malice at the
right,
time.
right, right,
So there is sort of, you guys are creating your own kind of, drug dealer negative type of, persona
right.
amongst yourselves. And why was the name of the group called Clipse?
Well, it was full of clips actually, and at the time, Fat Joe had a crew called Full of Clips, something right?
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. So we didn't want to step on no toes, especially not with the Terror Squad at the time, So we just called ourselves the Clips, and what we always said was we just wanted to cast a shadow on this industry and black out everything else.
Word.
Yeah.
How well did that first album do?
It did very well.
Platinum?
I don't know the numbers, but broke a few records, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Or made some charts or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, it did very well.
So then it came to the next album, which is Hell Hath No Fury.
Right. Yeah, man.
And there was a whole bunch of drama around that album getting released.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
From your point of view, what happened?
From my point of view, what happened? There's always discrepancies, man, with any and everything. Not so much the labels, things internally within ourselves. Yeah, it just went the way it did, bro.
Okay. Because it eventually did come out.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
on a different label, I guess, right?
Yeah, it came out.
Okay. And Mr. Me Too was the first single off that.
Yeah, Mr. Me Too, I believe it was. You know better than I do.
I think I actually sent one of my guys to videotape that like behind the scenes of that video. I guess it was like in a hangar. There was like a private jet and stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. That's what I'm saying. You and I go way back, way before VladTV times.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
So that song comes out, and Lil Wayne thought that song was a diss record towards him.
Did he really? I mean, did he think that? I really don't know the story of where things had went so bad with all of that. I don't know how it came about. If you were to ask me what the problem with us in between Lil Wayne, I probably would have told you. I think that somebody said something about his fashion resembling us. Something that we never said or anything. But I can tell you unequivocally, Mr. Me Too was not about Lil Wayne. At least to my knowledge. You know what I'm saying? At least to my knowledge. I've never heard that.
Okay. So this was just a rumor that was.
I'm talking about internally. Like, we're not even that lame to, talk about somebody and not say your name. You know what I'm saying? So, absolutely not. Yeah, if you would have asked me, I would have told you. I think there was a writer who said something to Lil Wayne about fans referring to his fashion. And I think his response was F the Clipse. That's what I remember happening. But before that, I thought everything was cool. Us and Baby and, we had went out to New Orleans and we shot What Happened to That Boy. Then something happened, the cameraman messed up the footage, so we went back out because, it was just on the cool. So it was, never any problems with them.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, because Birdman did the hook on that song. What Happened to That Boy? Or wait, was that his song featuring y'all?
It was his song on his album.
Featuring the Clipse.
Featuring the Clipse, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Right, because I guess you guys were one of the first rappers to actually wear Bape.
Yeah.
And then Wayne started wearing Bape, so I guess people compared it. But I mean, that was just a hot brand period at the time.
Like I said, I never had no problem with none of that.
Yeah.
Never had no. Why would I?
Okay. So you guys put out the second album, and then I guess because of some litigation, you started putting out the We Got It for Cheap mixtapes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what the problem was? What, that you couldn't put out an official album, so you just wanted to start releasing music to the fans?
Right, right. We couldn't put out an official album. That's good. Yeah, I'll run with that. We couldn't put out an official album, so we just started doing the mixtapes. We did the We Got It for Cheap mixtape series, and when that first came about, I wasn't even with that. Like, I wasn't even. I'm like, what is this mixtape business? What's going on with our deal? Trying to get that right. So that's why on the first We Got It for Cheap series, I think I was only like on a couple of songs. I just wasn't feeling it or whatever. But we did two more after that in the Play Clothes mixtape, and they did so well that we got to tour, off of that everywhere and overseas, and so it was cool.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are one of the innovators of really touring off of mixtapes.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I think maybe 50 Cent was doing it at the time as well. Like, you guys were sort of the first batch of artists who actually did that.
Yeah, I agree.
Very dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you guys come out with Till the Casket Drops.
Right.
Okay. At that point, were you still as involved in the group as you were before, and in hip hop in general, or were things kind of going on at the time in your life?
Well, I think around that time you can basically hear it. You can hear my transition, and that's what I kind of like about my transition, is because it's very well documented. You can hear when things started to change for me. My life has always been an open book. I've only wrote about the things that I knew about. Even in all my stupidity, I like to think that within the clips, I still let you into some kind of remorse or some kind of introspective thought about what we were doing. It was almost like, yeah, we're doing this, but I do know better at the same time.
Okay. Because then there was a bunch of sort of weird rumors that started to circulate, right? So I guess there was a rumor that you had infected a girl with AIDS.
Well, what happened with that was I thought I myself might have had it, and that comes from living a reckless lifestyle. A lot of people have had that scare, but it's just doing what you want to do. Like I said, living reckless, living selfishly, and just into all kinds of things. And your mind will definitely at times can start playing tricks on you.
Okay. I guess there was also a rumor that her brother put a hit out on you or something like that.
Yeah, you're referring to my book. My book. But see,
Yeah.
all of those things. All of those things come from not being flat-footed, not being stable, not being on firm ground. Your mind can just start playing, tricks on you. So I wrote about all of that in my book, Wretched, Pitiful, Poor, Blind, and Naked, but none of which, came out to be true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then your manager, Anthony Gonzalez, he has a federal investigation and he gets sentenced to 32 years for drug trafficking.
Right.
Were you guys investigated as well, or was that simply towards him?
That was towards him.
Okay.
That was towards him.
I mean, but was there a certain amount of fear that went into that? Because you know how the feds do it. They try to drag everyone into it.
Bro, it was an extreme amount of fear. There was, you couldn't help but wonder what the possibilities, who was going to get, dragged down with that, or how everything was going to play out. But I sat and I watched, all of our friends, go down in that situation. And there was a time when I thought, that we would be involved with that.
Okay. What was really the final step between all the drama that we talked about, your manager, getting convicted, your friends are going to jail? When did the artist formerly known as Malice finally reached his breaking point and just said, fuck everything?
Well, the thing is, bro, and it's just looking at everything that we championed, looking at everything that we held in such high regard, and I'm only speaking for myself, and then to see this avalanche of things, going down. It was like when I was in that federal building and I seen the judge hand out, the sentence, I was thinking to myself, it was nothing that we had done that was that much fun to warrant 32 years. You know what I'm saying? Of anything. It wasn't that many after parties. It wasn't that many club nights. It wasn't that many award shows. It wasn't that much dope women, girls that was worth any of that, And it was basically doing the checks and balances. And that's a good point that you brought up, because I would like to say that people think that the indictment, scared me straight, so to speak. I was already on my kick before the indictment happened. In fact, I had told everybody that they were going to jail. I told everybody that they were going to jail because I felt something. And they will tell you to this day, Tony will even tell you. He'll say, because he said to me, in the jail, he'll say, you told me this was going to happen, didn't you? So I knew it. Actually, when this happened, I knew that I looked at it as a sabotage to my true transformation of God working in my life. And when I say God, I mean God in the name of Jesus. I knew what my testimony was. I knew what I had been through. I knew that whenever, out of all the things that I've had, all the superficial things, when it really hit the fan, none of those things could help me. They all actually rendered me helpless. It wasn't any money that could take care of my soul and my conscience. It wasn't any friends. It wasn't any family members for that. The only thing that I had to stand on was the word of God, the unchanging word of God, same yesterday, today, and forever. And this is coming from someone who has actually seen it all, and people out here, a lot of people growing up, youth, they aspire to, I guess, to be famous or, aspire to be rich. But, I'm quick to tell them that, they're still chasing my first life and will probably never get to that. Now I've seen it and I'm on to something else. And I'm just trying to let people in on, my life and the things that I've been through. And I'm not here wagging a finger and telling anybody anything. But if you like my story and you see what I've been through, I'm telling you what I've seen. Now, you can take it or leave it, because I ain't begging.
Okay. So you go to your brother, Pusha T.
Right.
After having all the success as the Clipse, after being on tour worldwide, performing with every major artist, award shows and everything, and you tell him, you know something? I'm out.
You can have it. You can have it. We were in LA and we just got finished having a meeting with Rick Rubin. And the whole time while we're sitting talking, I'm like, these guys don't even know I'm not even going to be here. I finished the conversation, but I'm on my way out. You know what I'm saying? So after we had the meeting, we went back and, my brother and I, we're in the elevator. And I just told him, I was like, I'm really finished with this, man. And this is not, what I choose to do. And I'm like, we finished our last album. This was like a perfect breaking point. The timing couldn't have been any more great. So I let him know that, I'm not doing this anymore. And he respected it. It wasn't, he asked me, was I sure, and, but see, my brother knows when I say something, I don't be playing, he totally knows if I mean it, I mean it. And so he respected it, and it was at a great time. It's not like I left him high and dry or anything like that. We did what we had to do.
I mean, you fast forward to 2017, Pusha T is doing great, but at the time, I'm sure there was a lot of uncertainty that Pusha could have done it on his own, because you guys are known as the Clipse, like what I mean, like you guys were both, the name itself was much more powerful than the individual names of the people in the group.
I mean, yeah, but it depends on what you live for. Like, I don't live for this industry. I still have to live for my life. So
no, but I mean, no, I understand your point of view, but what about your brother's point of view? Because your brother, I'm thinking, was probably looking at it going like, shit, like, what am I going to do now?
Nah, I mean, my brother's a hustler. He's a hustler, and if you don't know that about him, you can hear that in every song. He's a hustler. So he's going to make it happen, And not only that, we're not twins. We're not joined at the hip. We're individuals. And that's life. No one should be contingent on someone else. I hear a lot of people say, put me on. It's who you could put me on. But, people got to know, you got to get out here and make life happen for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to make life happen for you. And you should never have to rely on somebody else.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true right there.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
And I mean, like, and it doesn't matter how deep you go. I have to live with myself and live the kind of life that I believe that I'm called to live. And you have to know, vice versa, I would have respected him, the same way. And that's what I love about our relationship, because he never not once was like, how can you do this or whatever. It's like, yo, you got to pull up your bootstraps and do what it is for you, and that's how our father raised us, so
yeah.
I never second guessed his ability to do anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So at that point, because we talked about earlier how you went to church and everything else like that, but at that point, the religion became more serious for you. Were you like born again, or did you convert, or what exactly happened?
No, I was actually absolutely born again. I gave my life to Jesus Christ. It's no other way, that I can say it. And the whole religion thing, I believe religion is when you do something religiously and over, and you have a set of rules, that you have to abide by. And, you have to do this a certain amount of times and don't do that or don't do... Matter of fact, I find it to be the exact opposite. I believe in Jesus. And my Bible tells me whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And I find so much freedom in the Word of God. And it is definitely a personal relationship. So I don't set my sights on what someone says you're supposed to be doing or what you're not doing, and the judging and the watching and looking. My grandmother always told us, don't ever be one of those people that always looking to see what somebody else got going on or what somebody else, is doing. Find out for yourself. I don't listen. I don't conform. I listen to the Word of God, and He speaks to me and He speaks to my soul, and everything that I come across in that book is absolutely true. It totally lines up with my experiences out here in this world. And, I would like to try and to convey that to as many people as possible.
So then you changed your name from Malice to No Malice.
Yeah.
Did you feel like the name just no longer reflected who you were as a person?
Man, I believe we become how we're labeled. You keep answering to a certain thing, you're going to be that. You know what I'm saying? And unless you're trying to look at it as it's just entertainment, but you might try to say that, but certain things start to stick. Like you might start seeing, you talk about dope all record, you might start seeing an indictment or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's that age-old question: does art imitate life, or is life imitating art? That's a real thing where it comes from. And I absolutely know that there is nothing malicious about me or who I'm supposed to be, ill will and ill intent. Nah, I'm actually called to love and to love everyone. And if you look at what's going on in this world, you can tell right now that it's the remedy. It don't take a rocket scientist. You can be halfway a fool to see what's going on in this world. And if people loved and respected everyone, then we'd be in a much better place.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just interviewed Money B, who was really close to Tupac, and I asked him, you know, did Tupac sort of predict his own death, or did he know that he was going to pass? And his answer was,
there was a point when Tupac used to come and play us his demos, and he would be talking about getting shot or going to jail, whatever it is. And I remember, like, he would always talk about going to jail. And then he did finally go to jail, get arrested. And then he would talk about getting shot, and he got shot. So then I remember when we did, one of the last song that we recorded with him with Digital Underground was What's Up With The Love. And it's got me, Tupac, Shock, Cletus Mack is on the song. And he's playing these songs that were eventually, some of them eventually made it to Me Against the World. But he was talking about dying.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do believe that we can speak death upon ourselves the same way I believe we can speak life, you know, upon ourselves. And not only that, speak life to other people, which is what I'm doing now with my new album, Let the Dead Bury the Dead. Now, if you look at, you know, the things that I have said in the past, and this is just a real question, you know, can you imagine, or a statement, whatever, but can you imagine how many people went to jail listening to the things that I said? Forget everybody else, you know, and other rappers and other groups. Think about how many times people got pulled over, went to jail, my record playing in the car. Think about how many times somebody's head was blown out, you know, and the theme music still playing or whatever. Because I know I liked who I listened to and washed my car to it, you know, pump my gas in it, and it was just the theme music to my life. So you create that vibe. You definitely create that vibe. This isn't an opinion. This isn't, you know, trying to rap shame or anything like that. This is truth. You know, we do tend to gravitate towards what we are filling our minds and eyes and ear gates with, definitely. And yeah. I don't know anyone who could deny that.
Yeah, no, that's deep. I mean, you're absolutely right.
Is it really? Because I really think it's elementary. I think, but now I think that we overlook it, and it has become so desensitized to so many things. Whether, I mean, if you look at the news, you look at the music, everything is so passé now, you know? We don't even blush anymore about anything, especially our women. Our women don't even blush anymore. So, you keep hearing things over and over and over again. We definitely speak a lot of this stuff on ourselves.
Absolutely. Now, you came out with your solo album in 2013.
Right. Hear Ye Him. Right.
You got another album coming by the name of
Let the Dead Bury the Dead.
Okay. Why that name?
Well, that name, I like that name because what it means to me is that we don't have to compete with what's going on around us. We don't have to get involved and always try to outdo, you know, the next man, or we don't have to, you know, just engage everything that's going on. The world is going to take care of itself, so to speak. So let the dead bury the dead. Everybody should just do their own individual thing. And if you're trying to do what's right and try to, you know, fight the good fight, everything else is going to take care of itself.
Dope. So a couple years ago, Pusha T said there's going to be another Clipse album called As God Is My Witness.
He be lying. He be lying. Yeah.
Right. It was supposed to be produced by Pharrell and Kanye. More lies?
Yeah. All lies. All lies. Nah. I'm just messing with my brother. But you know, I would love to do a record with my brother once again, for the fans and for the culture. You know, it seems like when people ask about a record, they act like I'm the holdup, or you know, Malice not going to do that, or he's not going to do this, or not going to do that. And it's like they want me to go sit over there. And in my mind, I'm like, I want my brother to come sit here with me. You know, I don't want to see my brother with anyone else. I am jealous. I love my brother. I want him beside me. And I want us to make music together that's going to edify our people, but not just our people, everybody. And raise up a nation, because it's a lot of foolishness going on. And I was very much a part of that. Very much a part of it. In fact, there was a time when I spearheaded it. I want to make some changes, right some wrongs, wash some of the blood off of my hands. But not only that, I know that my brother and myself will wrap circles around a lot of what's going on right now. I have no doubt. It's too easy. We could do it in our sleep. So, you know, I'm waiting for Pusha. Whenever he's ready, I'm ready. Whenever he's ready, I'm ready.
So what you're saying is that in order for another Clipse album to happen, Pusha has to rap the same type of content that you're comfortable rapping about now.
You know better than that. You know better than that. I wouldn't put any limitations or you know, any guidelines on anyone or anybody. Do you know how much room it is to say something or to make good music without being all the way dumbed out? You know, it's a lot of room. I wouldn't expect my brother to put on a preacher robe or anything like that. Wait till you hear my album, Let the Dead Bury the Dead, because it is straight up lyric-driven street hip-hop. I make no apologies for what I say, and I stand behind it, and I'm willing to die for it, you know? And I just know me and my brother would make the best team.
Well, the reason I say that is because I think you did an interview on Hot 97 where you said that you can't listen to Pusha T's music anymore because of the content.
Did I say that, or was that? I think that was the title of it. Because when I seen it, I was like, I didn't say that.
Okay. So go ahead and correct me then.
No problem. The thing is, I just don't listen to that. It has nothing to do with Pusha T. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother. Y'all don't understand. Like, we talk, we have real talks. You know, we talk about real stuff, poignant stuff. That's my brother. I love my brother. Like, this industry will never cause us to get anything twisted. I just don't listen to that. As a matter of fact, you can't do what I do and talk about what I talk about and watch what everybody else is doing. It has nothing to do with him. I already know how great he is. I done been on tour with him. I done records and mixtape with him. I know who he is. You know, I know how great he is. You know what I'm saying? I might know better than he knows, maybe, how great he is. So, you know, I'm not out, you know, checking. I don't have to hear it. I'll let everybody else ooh and ah over the music. You know, I'm not surprised. I definitely get it. It's too easy.
How did you feel when Pusha T signed with Good Music and eventually became the president of Good Music?
The only way I could feel, you know, happy for him. As long as my brother's happy, I'm happy, you know. And my brother does a lot of great things, you know, for our family. Everyone is proud of him. And, it was only one way to feel. And that was just, you know, you got to clap.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the way that he was able to sort of shift gears, and I mean, you could say reinvent himself, but I feel like it's not really reinvention. It's almost like the way he hustled his way into the position that he's in now is just extremely impressive, because in all the times that you and I have been in the music game, and it's been sort of a similar amount of time, you've seen a lot of people come and go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, to me, it only makes sense. When I view my brother and I look at my brother, he has always been, first of all, you know, he'll rap the brakes off you, you know, for one. He's always been in the, or knows the who's who of any and everything that's going on, you know, in this industry, in the rap game, in fashion. He's always been abreast. So all of this makes sense to me. And like you said yourself, definitely been a hustler before the rap game. So I'm not surprised at any of this. Matter of fact, I'm looking forward to seeing even more great things, come from him.
Me too.
You know?
Me too. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a
definitely.
fan. I thought the last album was great.
Okay.
Yeah. So my final question to you, as someone who is as religious as you are,
I don't subscribe to that. I don't, but go ahead.
Okay, you believe in heaven, right?
I absolutely believe in heaven.
And you believe that you will be judged at the point that you get to heaven. And you've talked about how some of the lyrics that you've done and so forth, you have blood on your hands and you're trying to write that. Is there any sort of fear in your current position that what you've represented and done in the past is going to affect you in the afterlife?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When Jesus was on the cross, he said, "It is finished." See, I have that assurance. I'm not going wondering whether or not I'm going to make it into heaven. He cannot tell a lie. He's already told me that he has paid the price for anything that I could possibly do. All I have to do is believe in him. Not only that, and I would like to say to your listeners or anybody watching, if you're walking around here with any kind of guilt, if you're walking around here with any kind of shame, remorse, past mistakes, anything that you could have possibly done, there is nothing that can outdo that perfect and precious blood that Jesus shed on the cross. That's what this whole game is about. It's not about trying to see who has done good or who's good enough. The Bible says that we are all sinners and we all fall short of the glory that is God. There is none righteous, no, not one. Now, are you going to accept the payment for that sin or not? And that's what this thing is about. It's not being better than anybody or, more righteous than the next man. No, I don't have any trepidation about where I'm going to be in the afterlife. And I do not believe that this life after this is just it. It can't possibly be. And anyway, hey, listen. But if you do believe that, I say you better get it right now while you're here. You better live it up right now while you're here and get all you can get. No matter who you hurt, who you step on, you better get it, because if you don't, you a fool.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it.
Hey, man. I'm extreme in whatever I think.
Yeah. Very dope. Well, No Malice. I definitely appreciate the time and the perspective, man. I think a lot of people are going to look at this and definitely give it a lot of thought.
It's good to be here, Vlad. Good seeing you again, man. Definitely.
Always, man. Wish you the best of luck. Can't wait to hear that new album.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to get it to you.
My man.
All right.